So, you've been thinking about a career change, maybe to go into tech, maybe to go into software engineering, and you're debating, well, is AI going to take over tech and coding? Well, I had an experience yesterday where I want to talk about it. Let's get into it. If you've been subscribed to my channel or watched any of my previous videos, I did a video the other day where I referenced the movie Scarface, Push It to the Limit, that song in there. And that's because in my current job as a software engineer, my company has a couple new products that require me to automate and engineer an API into. If you don't know what an API is, it's just a way for me to communicate to another computer. Okay, and so I have to write a bunch of code to talk to that other computer, and it has a document that describes how to talk to that computer. That's called the API, okay? And so I have to code some things for that, and I was using AI yesterday, okay? And so you would think that I'd be able to upload that document and tell it, in which this is what I did. I said, hey, this is what I need to do with this API. Can you stub out some code for me that will get the list of devices? Okay, I got to query it and get a list and all this stuff. And so it stubbed out, I don't know, probably like 300 to 500 lines of code. I looked at the code, it looked pretty decent, and but it had some flaws in it. Okay, so I had to kind of talk with ChatGPT a little bit more and describe exactly what I'm trying to do with the API. And so it started to build this recursive, not recursive, but it started to build a couple functions that would look through this array, compare the array, and actually insert or upsert the data into this array. You don't need to know the details about it, but I started playing around with it and started working with it, and it was just a mess. To be honest, it was a mess. And so I just cleared it out and I started from scratch essentially and decided to take my own perspective on it and cleaned it up. I made it a different structure altogether. And then I sent it up to ChatGPT and it said in there, oh, this is a much more efficient perspective. And so I kind of thought that was funny. And the reason why I feel like the hype of AI is a little too extreme is that it can't reason, okay? It can't look at that document and actually understand where the relationships are, okay? All it's looking for is patterns that previous humans have done, and it makes a prediction as to what it should output for the question you give it. Now, it's good, don't get me wrong, like I'm able to stub out functions left and right, and it makes me more efficient. And so that might prevent a lot of new jobs from being created. But a lot of those new jobs, guys, are just entry-level jobs that are typically done overseas. It's just like grunt work that nobody wants to do. But to be honest, if you have a brain that can actually process and reason and have logic, and you love to code and you love building complex engines and complex architecture, I think coding is still a great career, to be honest. I mean, I know you're hearing a lot about layoffs from the big tech companies, but that's the big tech companies, guys. There are thousands of companies that are run by business people, not tech people, business people. And business people, guys, are not as bright up here. They might be good at sales, they might be good at the marketing, but they're not good at tech. And they're not going to know how to talk to ChatGPT. All right, they may say to ChatGPT, hey, build me an app. And ChatGPT is going to know how to build an app because it's greenfield. Okay, it's green, brand new, and it can stub out everything from scratch. But here's the thing. The minute it gets complex and brownfield, it sucks. Okay, it doesn't know the exact context of how a human thinks and how a human can comprehend and keep that context in its brain and be able to build complex logic and architecture like a human can. I mean, humans can do that. ChatGPT is not there yet, guys, by any means, all right? It may be able to build and stub out an app for you, but it's not going to be able to maintain it very well. All right, the minute some business person goes in there and is like, hey man, build me an app that does X, Y, Z, it'll do it. You know, it'll do a decent job, give you some good screens, some beautiful outlooks, some beautiful layouts because it's seen patterns in the past. That's the model that it's able to produce. But the minute that business person wants to do a complex change for some complex reason that another human made up in another business person wanted some clunky, convoluted workflow, the ChatGPT is going to struggle with that. Okay, it's going to make mistakes. Now, it'll be helpful. Don't get me wrong, but that's the power of AI and being a tech person or being an engineer. It's so powerful to be an engineer these days, guys. And so I strongly still recommend it, to be honest, because there's always going to be dumb business people at the end of the day. These business people do not know what they want. Okay, they can barely even fathom how AI processes things and how AI works in general. So they're not going to be able to take advantage of all of it, okay? These B and C students that run the world, guys, that's the reality. B and C, D students, you know, even students who don't even, you know, finish high school, they do run the world. They're risk takers. They'll go out and they'll build a business and it'll be messy. And that's what engineers do, is they clean up the world and they make it efficient, and they're going to use ChatGPT to make it efficient. So it's an extremely powerful tool for you to take advantage of. And I still think it's a great industry, to be honest. I know there's a lot of people complaining about it, a lot of people getting laid off, but that's the big tech field, honestly. It's not that way everywhere else. Sorry to tell everyone. And here's the thing. As an engineer and a tech person with AI, you can go out and undercut everyone. You can go out and build software that's competitive with, dare I say, Outlook, or dare I say, Gmail. You could do it with these tools. You know, that's the thing. If you know tech, it's a beautiful thing. Now, here's the thing about tech, too. If you want to be an entrepreneur or a business person, and you know how to code and how to engineer this infrastructure, you have so much power now, because now you have the AI to do the marketing, to do the social media, to do the tech, right? You can be a one-man shop and build a business all from scratch if you can code and you can engineer. So, I don't know. I just think that, you know, my one experience yesterday, and I've experienced this in the past, I've done some other side projects with AI. It's not as good as you think, you know. In certain fields, it's going to be good. I think the robots are going to take over, no doubt. There's not much complexities to sweeping the floors or doing basic tasks for a business or a household. You know, if you're in a warehouse, it's not that complex. You know, same thing with self-driving. It'll do that. You know, it can look at patterns in the roads and be able to interpret that and get the job done. And even Waymo's doing it, and they're not even using AI, guys. And so with AI, it'll be able to do that. But honestly, I think some of these complex infrastructure, architecture, thought processes for coding and all that, it's got a long ways to go. I think we've got maybe a 3 to 5 year before we really see some, you know, decent reasoning with AI to be able to compete with someone like myself. Maybe after that, you know, maybe I'll be out of a job. Who knows? But I still don't think that'll be the case, because I think business people are too stupid. That's the honest truth, guys. Business people do not get engineering. They never have, and they never will, because they don't spend the time in their brain to think about the architecture. Okay? The dorks like us, the nerds, we spend hours and hours and hours thinking and reasoning about this stuff. And that's what the ChatGPT isn't doing. It's not reasoning at this point. It's simply taking a statistical probability that what you asked it will give you this response. And it's wrong half the time. You know, I had to tell it, hey, you're wrong. But it was good at like fixing the part where it was wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like it is good to help you build fantastic functions, fantastic efficiencies if you know how to prompt it. That's the thing. It's this prompt engineering that has to be perfect. And not everyone's going to be perfect at that. Business people are not going to be perfect at prompt engineering because they're not engineers, guys. They don't think logically. They think business-wise. Oh, How many drinks can I have with someone to go have dinner and to sell them on this, vaporware that I'm trying to sell them on? That's the reality, guys. Business people are vaporware sellers. So they're not engineers. They're not going to make the reality happen. We are. Engineers are. So, guys and gals out there, if you're debating on coding and you're hesitant because you're scared of AI, don't be. It's your partner in this world, okay? But you got to get better than AI. That's the key. You got to now. You're not going to be able to get a job in a basic coding perspective easily, okay? You might here and there, but you got to get better than the AI as far as like figuring out the complexities of software. You can do it, honestly. And if you use AI to learn how to code, you got to build stuff. That's the key, guys. You got to build stuff on your own, get better at building stuff than the AI would be, or use it. You can't use it as a crutch. You got to actually know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing and you have AI, you're going to kick butt and take names. That's the name of this game. So I don't know. This is just kind of a random video I thought of after yesterday's experience with the AI, and now I'm going to use it again today. I got some more stuff to code, but most of it now is grunt work, so it's going to be easier with AI to code some of this API stuff. But anyways, so maybe I'll talk more about this stuff with software and engineering and AI and what my thoughts are. I have used this new tool, Cursor. It is pretty remarkable. I got to set up Cursor with this new environment for this new product I'm working on, and we'll see how things go there. But yeah, let me know in the comments below if you guys have been thinking about tech, thinking about software engineering, and we'll keep talking about it too. If you have questions, feel free to email me, man. We can talk about this more. I'd love to get some questions and comments on that. Send me an email at dan@itsawealthylife.com. And if you like this content, like and subscribe if you could, if you haven't subscribed yet. And take a look at my previous video. And everyone, have a great day. Thanks.